What are we looking at? Well, for me, again, we are looking at the Kizer mini Begleitter. I like this a lot. I like it better than the actual Begleitter, the full size. So this is the mini Begleitter 2. So, you know, without any further ado, you guys know what time it is. Turn down the volume because here comes a little bit of music. Guys, refilming this, there's a bunch of audio interference, so you're not getting a big heads up. I didn't find it until I started the edit. This is the mini Begleitter 2 that came in from this guy, Jared. And if you don't follow Jared, you should, because there is a massive giveaway he's doing. He has a $1,000 Rockstead, a $1,000 Shiro, a several $100 Bowie XM18. You need to go over to his channel, follow it, find the link to it, and then there's a whole list of channels you have to follow. I already did a video about it, laying it out. Go find that video as well. The channels are linked below. The only one I forgot to link was Not Your Average EDC. So I'll have those channels down below along with Jared so that you follow all those channels. That's how you get entered. Anyway, afterthought, guys, while I was editing, so we've had an issue with people that were following the channels and immediately got unsubscribed because of the massive amount. So go check your subscription status on that and make sure you interact with at least a couple of the videos on each one of those channels. It's not that hard. Just go in and watch it for like 30 seconds, just so that YouTube doesn't think you're a bot. Sorry for just dropping this in here. But yeah, you have to interact with the content on these channels to stay subscribed. That's YouTube there was such a massive number of people that, like, we all lost all of our subscribers we got from the big push because YouTube thought they were bots and scrubbed you guys from. So if you are subscribing to one of those channels, you also have to interact with the content. It doesn't take very long, but that's the only way it's going to work. Right. This is the mini Begleitter 2 by Kizer. This is a very, very nice design. There's not a lot to talk about it here, so let's go ahead and turn this around and do some tabletop review. So let's look at it from above. Guys, this is the Kizer mini Begleitter 2. So this is a knife that came in from Jared. I owned the Begleitter, the original. I did a review of the Begleitter. I actually prefer this one. But let's get some specs and stuff out of the way. So this is mini Begleitter 2. It's overall length 6.61 inches. So it's not a huge knife. You're looking at a blade length of 2.87 inches. It's done in N690. It's flat ground. Reverse Tanto, they call it. I really don't agree with that. This is more of a Wharncliffe, modified Wharncliffe. There's no actual Tanto here because a Tanto indicates the double-edged or an area of thickening. At any rate, not to argue semantics, I don't agree with it being a reverse Tanto, but that's how they have it listed. So blade stock thickness on this is 0.110. Let's go ahead and get the calipers out, and we'll get a look at the blade stock thickness. And like I said, 0.110, pretty close, 0.1075. Behind the edge thickness, I'm curious about this because when I filmed this the first time, I don't believe I did a behind the edge thickness on this. Right behind the edge, 0.020. So nice and thin behind the edge. You are looking at a handle length of 3.73 inches, done in a steel liner lock, a steel pocket clip, green micarta scales running on ceramic bearings. And for the final spec, the weight they have listed is 2.12 ounces. Let's go ahead and take a look at it. Guys, I apologize. I have some allergies going on. Let's go ahead and do grams first for those of you that don't use Freedom units. 62 grams. This is a very light knife, easy to carry. In ounces, 2.25. So 2.25 ounces on this scale. And even though, like I say all the time, Nick has certified it, your results may vary. So let's go ahead and talk about this. I carried this a lot since it came in from Jared. I had the Begleitter at the same time, the Begleitter 2. And while they did a lot of improvements on the Begleitter 2, I think that this one is the one that really shines. The Begleitter is too long for as skinny as it is, this, I think, just comes in about perfect. Thumb stud action only, but the action on it is great. A very light knife. You put this in your pocket, it just kind of disappears. Now, the reason I like this more than the Begleitter, and I've started to gravitate to knives that have this nice slender profile and come up to an acute tip, is I've started doing a lot of things where I'm cutting out and doing things around the house, and I've noticed that I really like being able to get up on something that has a tip that's a little less swept. So if you guys remember, the Begleitter had kind of a clip point blade or drop point blade that was fairly swept. This is another knife that is nice because it doesn't have such a sweep. You have a nice accessible tip where it's not rounded up so far. Now, that belly doesn't come in useful from time to time, but majority of the time, I find myself gravitating to knives that it's a lot easier to use for like outline cutting and things like that. N690 on this is done really well. Pocket clip is a deep carry pocket clip, but this one sits in a fashion that it does not bother me. My big problem with pocket clips is not just that they're deep carry and things like that. I think it's silly that people think that, oh, if I put this deep enough in my pocket, people aren't going to realize that's a knife. I think that's a bunch of bunk. Everyone in the world at this point, every cop, every person that knows anything about knives knows that when they see that, it's a knife in your pocket. So you're not concealing anything, but there are some benefits to that. Like I like to say, a deeper carry pocket clip, if it's done right, will allow you to move that to the front part of your pocket close to the zipper, as opposed to having to keep it back towards the inseam, because it sits lower in the pocket and it doesn't poke and you know, dig as much into your side. I think this thing is so light. The majority of that is because these scales have been, as you can see, definitely skeletonized. More so on one side than the other. They just did a really large cutout area for the lock bar part of the liner to allow it, you know, a little bit of weight reduction and still maintain some strength. It does not have a full backspacer. It uses some standoffs, which, you know, that's debatable. Like if you carry this in your pocket with a lot of keys and stuff, your keys can get in there, but it definitely makes this lighter. And then this, I don't like lanyard holes. This one's not done badly. I'd much rather have something along the lines of some of the knives we've been seeing lately, that either it's enclosed in like a backspacer or there's just a post with a hole in it. Artisan did a few knives like that, the Rhea being one of them. As a matter of fact, I took one out of one of my knives and it was laying on the workbench. I was going to show it to you guys. Now I don't see it. But overall, nothing bad about this knife, much to say. I mean, it is a great little knife. It's probably one of the best little EDCs at the price point I've had come in. The blade is a little bit out of sync with the handle. Like the handle looks like a standard thing, and then you get this reverse tanto that narrows down, and it does look a little strange, but like in use, you know, it doesn't feel odd at all. And like I said, as light as it is, you put it in your pocket and it just all but disappears. All the fit and finish on this is done really well for, I mean, what you would expect for a more expensive knife. It's done well. I've seen more expensive knives that were done a little less, with a little bit less fit and finish, but you know, it is a budget knife, so you're gonna lose some of the flourishes and things like that. But the micarta is done really well, nice and grippy. It's done nice and clean. There's no like raveling areas where you can see the millwork and things like that. Internally, it's rock solid, bank vault solid, and it still is really smooth. Kizer's action has really improved over the last year or so, I would say. I haven't had a Kizer that came in with a bad action. Their action has been really good. I think they just basically have stepped up the quality of the bearings they're using and the milling they're doing to get them in there and pocketed in there in a fashion where there's just the right amount. Like it's not uneven. There's no problems with the internal milling surfaces. Sometimes you get a knife and you'll find an area where it just feels like the bearings just rattle around, and it's because the bearing pockets aren't completely level, and it allows that bearing to get to a point where you can rattle a bearing around. Didn't feel that on this. So I've had more expensive knives that have that happen, where you get to a point and basically you can hear the bearings, some of the bearings rattling because there's a low spot in the bearing pocket or it's not completely even, something like that. So no problems at all on this. Great little knife. Thank you very much, Jared, for sending this along. I'm sorry that if this doesn't seem like I'm really enthused about it, but it is 9 o'clock at night on a Sunday, and I'm just realizing that this is, that video did not work. There was a lot of serious electrical interference. I got to try and figure out what is causing that. We thought it was my neighbor's compressor, but he's been leaving it turned off. So there's something that runs from time to time in the house that causes some interference. But all right, guys, that's it. Let's turn this around, do some final thoughts. So like I said, guys, I like this a lot more than the original Begleitter. There's a lot of reasons why. I think it comes down to I've gotten into some smaller knives these days. As a matter of fact, one of my favorite things to carry right now is smaller than a lot of other knives. It's this little Oaks Osprey that he sent me for a Christmas present. So yeah, a great little knife at the price $49 on knifecenter.com, by the way. That's my preferred vendor because you get points. So guys, if you like the videos, give them a thumbs up. If you don't like them, give them a thumbs down. But please try to tell me why. I can't change the content if you don't tell me what you don't like. Just leaving me a thumbs down does not leave me much to go on. I do know that there's some people that are always going to do it. So yeah, if you want to support the channel, it's as simple as what I did with Jared and with all of the channels down below that you have to follow to get in on that giveaway. Just share the channel with people you think would enjoy the content. It gets us to a broader video or viewer base. If you want to support the channel financially, however, there's several ways you can do it. Down below, I have a membership tab that gets you early access to videos, exclusive content, premium tier sharpening tutorials, giveaways based on tiers. So if you want, go find the tier that fits what you want to get out of your membership and join the channel. I have affiliate links down below. Anything you purchase once you're through affiliate link, I get credit for it. Amazon doesn't charge you anything. There's a lot of them down there. I also have SOG Knives and Atlas VPN, which are two brand new affiliates. And I also have a merchandise store on Ember Shirt Co. I have a coupon code that saves you 10% at checkout anywhere on Ember Shirt Co., including my merch store. And that code's CrazySharp, all one word, capital C, capital S, CrazySharp, all one word, saves you 10%. Guys, I love you all. If it's your birthday, happy birthday. Keep it clean in the comment section. It makes it easier to moderate, and I will see you in the next video.